Facebook. We'll get the other one next time. And Wendy, we'll get you. Hey y'all, how you doing? It's Brian Sewell here with Guild Mortgage, RJ, Richard James, American Family, and Wendy Lee, special guest from Exability. Welcome to the RJ and Sewell Talk Show. Let's talk, where we talk real estate, mortgage, insurance, and we only give you the truth. We educate you, we empower you, we encourage you so you can make a sound decision. So I'm so great to have you on. Share, 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 share. I just went live a few minutes ago. I expect you to share. I love y'all, but y'all got to share. Don't keep us a secret. I'm not 007. Wendy's not 007, and neither is RJ, right? He looked like my buddy, what's our guy name from the 49ers, Jerry Rice, but he's not 007, right? So share information so we can educate you. We're going to have a lot of fun today. I've got a good friend of mine that I've known for a long time, and she's a powerhouse. Most of you guys know her, and she's going to educate you on this market, what's going on, and we're going to dive right in a little bit. We're going to give it a couple of minutes to just kind of joke around so you can spread the word with us being live and talking about real estate. And if you got questions, guys, jump in and ask us questions. We can answer them live. I think Wendy likes being put on the spot. So does RJ. So, and you know, I love being put on the spot. So bring it. So, RJ, how you doing today, man? We're going to talk to Wendy and say, how you feeling? How's I'm not going to bust your chops too bad today.
You know, I'm always doing well, man. You know, excited for another day, another opportunity to educate folks. This is one of the things I've loved. As a part of my 30-year insurance career, I was a trainer for many of those years. And I absolutely love seeing the light bulb go on and helping people understand what they're buying and why. So I'm really excited.
Oh, no, I know a little bit more about insurance as I've known you over the years. So, you know, Wendy, just so you know, RJ has been my buddy. God, it's been over 20 years. And he got out of the insurance sales side of it. So I was kind of mad at him. It was like I actually held a grudge against them for a few years. Got over that. And we was cool. And not because, you know, he didn't want to sell. It's just that's my role partner, man. We used to market together. We hit the streets. You know, we both love God. And it was just like, I mean, it was a pair, man. It was good. So he's back. And I was shocked when he told me he's coming back. I was like, oh, I'm putting you getting where you making it for all the years that I had to do this. So I'm glad to have him on. So now, RJ, I'm introducing you to Wendy. Like I said, she's a powerhouse. She's big on social. She does a lot of real estate. Been through a lot. We're not going to tell you to share your story, but just being able to do the things that she does transparently and still kill it. So Wendy, thanks for being on.
Thank you for having me, Brian. It's always a pleasure.
Yep. No, you know, so come on, Wendy. I want you to wake up. That ain't the energy you usually. Look, I know it's in the afternoon, but look, we have
I haven't had my caffeine drip yet. Okay.
I have my God's iced tea that's unsweet. So I got that over here, and I got my little bottle of water. Y'all call me bougie, whatever. So this ain't even the most bougiest water I drink. I drink a couple of different ones, but this is my go-to when
that's pretty good though.
I'm not sending enough business over here so we can close more. So I got to use this.
Yeah, I've seen some of your bougie water.
It's good. I don't know what they do to it. It tastes a little bit, but it's the way they have the bottle. It's something they make it special. It's good though.
Well, it's pure at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So Wendy's going to talk real estate. Wendy, tell us a little bit about you and how long you've been in the business. You know, give us your expertise, who you with. I know you got Exability on there, you know, but just tell us a little bit about you, who you are as a person, and how long you've been in business.
Well, I've been a realtor for 24 years full time, and how I got into real estate is I was thrown into the marketplace, right? I was laid off by corporate America, not once, not twice, but 3 times in 5 years. Okay. I'm a workhorse by nature. And I said, you know what? This has got to change. Right. So I became my own boss, created my own economy, and controlled my own future. And I have never looked back ever since then. Right. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, you are working for somebody else. Why not work for yourself? And at the time, my guy had told me, why don't we get into real estate, right? So we got into real estate, got my license, we flip homes as well. And 25 years later, 24 years later, we're still doing it. And then the key is at the end of the day, my evolution of my career more than ever before, I see that this is the path to go if you want to seriously build generational wealth, right? And I approach it from a whole different perspective where it's just not a house that you live in, right? You've got to see it as an opportunity for a stepping stone to get into something bigger, right? So I've created legacies for people, and therein lies my Wendy Lee, last name Legacy, played into a Legacy Realty Group because it's about a home, but it's about building your legacy, building the legacy, right? Building the Sewell and James household, the name, the Lee, right? In fact, that's how I got started as well. On top of being laid off, my father passed away at the same year that I had went to take my class to be a realtor, and he left a small inheritance from a life insurance policy, and not doing the typical thing that a lot of people do, right? Spend the money, got money that you didn't work hard for. And what do they say? As easy as it comes, as easy as it goes, right? I implemented that money. My mother was still relatively young, and I wanted to make sure I leveraged this money that my father left us as a vehicle to help take us to the next level. So we invested into homes, and we flipped homes, invested into real estate. And 25 years later, we're still leveraging the fruits of that labor, the fruits that were sowed. And so as a result, I have been helping families create generational wealth, and I love doing what I do.
Wow. I love that you said that. I mean, and applaud you. I know your dad would be really proud of you, right?
Thank you.
You said a couple of things there, and RJ, I'm gonna let you jump in there. Not doing what most. I mean, you said a lot. You gave a lot of nuggets there. You could, like, what I listened to that. If I replayed that, one, you want to help people build wealth, is what I heard. And you've done that. Two, you had an opportunity to build wealth. You didn't take the money you got from life insurance and flushed you down the toilet. And then 3, you're still taking that purpose. So you've been here, you've been around for a while. I think that's amazing, and I think that we can learn from it. There was a saying, and RJ, I'm gonna let you take it after this, is that if you were to take all the money in the world and divide it equally, I think it's within 5 or 10 years that the same families that's rich and wealthy would be. And it's because of the mindset that you just said. When it starts here, right? How we think about money. I think a little bit of some of the I think Wendy, you obviously, but I'm gonna speak from RJ, and I think we'll create a couple of buzz. I think him and I probably have us a team. We'll try to go buy those bulls, but we'll have a little legacy too. But I think, for the most part, it'll be about the same percentage. So RJ, what would you add to that?
Yeah, so first of all, Wendy, thanks for sharing that introduction and your background. We talk about real estate all the time on here, and we talk about, I've heard a trend where people are going towards renting again rather than owning. And I think the thing that they're missing is the ability to build wealth. A lot of the wealth in this country has been built on real estate. We've talked about how people can, you can take equity from your home and start a business, pay for education. There's just so many things you can do with it, and building legacy is a part of that. So I love that you shared that. I love that you incorporated your last name, tied it to legacy, calling it legacy. I love it all. So I do want to ask you this: if you would maybe go a little bit deeper. You said that you got the proceeds from the life insurance. You didn't want to squander the money. You wanted to make sure that that it meant something in the long run and not just the short run. So if you don't mind sharing, how old were you when that happened, and how did you come to that mindset and not just thinking about it, but actually executing on that plan?
Well, This was literally 24 years ago, where my father had passed away when I was studying to get my license as a realtor, right? And the thing is this, I recognized that this was money that my father worked hard for.
Mhm.
And so I did not want to use the money that he worked hard for the family, right? In my culture, especially in the older generation, parents, grandparents, talking about life insurance was taboo, right?
Mhm.
It was, you're like, oh, you're almost jinxing the person to about death, right? In fact, I'll share this story. I remember having a conversation with a loan officer that I was working with back then. And interestingly enough, her name was Wendy as well. And I said to her about being financially prepared for when a parent passes. And my dad literally passed a week later, right?
Mhm.
That was heart wrenching. But like I said, I recognized and knew that I needed to make sure what dad worked for was not in vain, right? And it makes me think of scenarios of clients that have been recently reached out to me, where you have family members where they're fighting each other over the parents' estate, right? And I'm like, you're letting the estate of what your parent worked hard for, don't let it go into vain. Don't let fighting amongst yourself let that hard work go down, right? So that's
Mhm.
what I said. What back then I even did it, right? But back then real estate was so much more cheaper. We bought a property for 40,000, and we were able to pay for it in cash,
Mhm.
did the renovations. My other half is a contractor, so we were able to save on the labor costs. We invested in the materials, right? But that does not mean that because real estate costs way more than 38,000, 40,000 today, that it can't still be the seed that helps you build into what can be 5, 10 years from now. In fact, I mean, I have a client that told me 2.5 years ago when they closed that, man, I wish I had bought my place 4 or 5 years ago, because 4 or 5 years ago I could have bought this $270,000 house in the neighborhood that I am in for 150,000. And I said, I know, because I put over a dozen clients in that neighborhood for between a little under 100,000 to 160,000.
Wow.
So I know that you could have made that money. You could have saved a lot. But again, it's better late than never.
So, Wendy, what should they do now? So we hear that a lot, and then a lot of people think there's going to be a crash, and I'll talk on that later because I don't
Mhm.
think there's going to be a crash. Just based off what I've seen. But somebody's sitting there saying, okay, yeah, they did well. They paid 100, they paid 275, or they wish they would have paid 175. Now the property's worth 350. What now? Right? I mean, we talk about this in private and RJ, we talk about, like, people watching this for the first time, what should they do? Should they go hide and wait for the market to change and crash?
Well, the reality is this, housing will always be a necessity, right? And so you approach it from a couple of different ways. You can look at it at the end of the day. You can rent, but if you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage, right? And I know it keeps, like, I know you said it all before, right? But I can call my landlord when something breaks down, right? I can call my landlord if my house floods, right? But at the end of the day, when you look up 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, how much you paid in rent,
We
it
can put
will,
on that too if you
and
want.
especially in today's market rate rents, right? 2,200, 2,500, right? Back then, rent could have been 1,500, right? But at least it might have been a better pill to swallow, paying 1,500 a month, in rent than 23, 2,500. I've seen some people pay $3,000 a month rent, right? But at least you're building towards it.
Now, I mean, now, man, Wendy, I've seen craziness, 5Gs, and not just 1 year temperament, like 5 years, 7 years. We had one lady who was paying like $3,600 a month, and she's paying that for 10 years.
Wow.
And she's like, I know, don't show me the number. So I didn't show it to her, but I was like, man.
At least they come to the awareness. That's the key, right? Coming to the awareness that you can do it, right? But if you align yourself with the right people, and how you do it is a whole different thing. Like, I had a conversation with a client that is an investor, right? And they are looking at doing corporate housing where they have their homes segmented into rooms. I remember showing a property by the medical district in the city, right? This couple had took a home and they literally created almost, if you will, that old school SRO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, they were renting it to like probably, I don't know, there had to be 9 or 10 rooms in that house at $1,000 a pop. That family was getting $9,000 to $10,000 a month in rent.
Wow.
And this was back before the market was high on the west side, right, by the medical district. So even if their mortgage was $2,500, can you imagine bringing in cash flowing $7,500 a month, right? $7,000. But okay, that's not your traditional everyday situation, right? But even so, being able to leverage it in such a manner that it is an investment. However you look at that property, look at the core, right? And how is money going into the core on different levels? And it's interesting. I said that word core. It kind of reminds me of the core coaching, right? Right. So, but any event, I want to come back full circle with this, because at the end of the day, however you can fund and source an investment opportunity, I will help you figure it out. Or I am happy to hear that there are totally ways you can do it. It's just a matter of finding and aligning yourself with the right people, right? You can do Airbnb. Like, I've heard people have bought multi-units, 2-unit buildings, right, where they'll rent one unit, one floor, and Airbnb it out the other, right? So then you have one source of consistent income, and then another source where you have sporadic, but it's higher income, right? Mm-hmm. But then again, reinvesting into another property, right? And that's how you're building your portfolio, So there's a lot of ways you can do that. It's just the key is to align yourself with the right people that can really help you think out the box to make it happen. And I'm not just about helping you sell a house. I'm not helping you buy or sell houses. It's about helping you. How can I truly help you build your legacy?
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Those are some those are some scenarios I probably would not have thought of, especially the SRO.
Right? Had I not been there, I probably would not have heard that, right? And I wouldn't have done that. But I have a client now looking at seriously doing some type of it. And I didn't even share with her that mindset of what this other person did. But when I shared the exact same scenario with them, and they were like, wow. So now then, instead of looking at it as a 3 or 4 bedroom, they're probably looking at, how can I double the number of bedrooms in this house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the property was in a redevelopment area, and it was by a college as well. So then they can do the exact same thing, because again, students are there to need a place to lay their head, right? It's not about living there, right? It's really about being able to lay your head to sleep when you're in between classes and studying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good opportunity to do that.
You're hitting it out the park. Wendy, give us a couple of minutes on what you're seeing in the market. Give us the market pulse, right? what are you seeing right now with buyers or home sitting or moving? Kind of give us that layout. Because, I mean, you have a team that you coach too that works for you and help understand. You've got a good variety, not just what you see, but you have your team under you to help you as well. So can you give us a little bit of that?
I mean, for Chicago, I mean, everything about real estate is all they always say, right? Number one rule, location, location, location. So there are parts of Chicagoland suburbs that are hotter than others, right? And I think that is also having the ability to have realistic sellers out there. There are sellers, unfortunately, in the marketplace that we're in, right, where they feel like they don't have to do anything, right, to get the same amount of return that somebody who has invested into their property to get a higher return, right? As a whole, Chicago market, I believe, is relatively strong. There is a little bit of pushback and pull that we've gotten and seen, and you can certainly speak to that, Brian, as being on the other side of the transaction as a lender, right? Are the interest rates slowing people down? It's slowing people down, in my opinion, yes, to the degree where, okay, the affordability is a question, right? But at the end of the day, again, if your rent is $2,200 and your mortgage is $2,200, I would still say, why not try to buy that property instead of continuing to rent, right? Or I've done where a mutual client of Brian and I, we have where we tried to talk to them about looking to upgrade their, they want to get out of the rental and buy something, but they weren't able to buy something that was $350,000, right? Even though they were approved, I was like, let's look at it from a perspective of buying something smaller, which would have been a $225,000 property instead of $350,000. It's still going to be equal to what you're paying in rent now. Mm-hmm. Let's live there for 2 years, save on the money that you would have saved by buying a property that was $350,000, right? And they were self-employed, so there's some things that they had to work out, right? But that way, if you bought into something that was a 2-bedroom, that's your temporary spot. Let that be your temporary spot. Buy here, buy here, live here for 2 years, save on what money you saved. 2 years, you're in a better position to buy something else, but keep that property. And now you have 2 years later, 3 years later, not only now are you only buying one, but you have one property and an investment property. Now you have 2 properties you're making money, right? Now that's truly leveraging your money, because my goal is, how can I help your money make more money for you, right? And in fact, where is that quote? There was a quote that I heard. How did this person say it? What did they say?
And we're here. I want you to finish that, Wendy, but here with RJ and Wendy Lee from X Realty, and RJ's from American Family Insurance. But go ahead. We had a couple people jumped on.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh,
the quote.
The money. How did she put that quote? Oh my goodness. Why don't go ahead and let me try to find it in my notes, and then we can go back to it. Oh, make your money work as hard as you did to acquire that money.
I like that. Say that again. Make your money.
Make your money work as hard as you did to acquire that money. You have physical work to make that money, right? But now let that money, if your money, that's what I like to do and teach people, right? How is your money actively being made, and how are you passively making money as well? That's how you're going to be able to get farther, in my opinion.
Yeah, you diversify, you grow. I mean, that's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm always a little surprised about how people complain about where they're at in life when you don't want to. You just got to get in the game. You got to make a decision. It's I remember reading a book 25 years ago, Rich Dad Poor Dad. He's like, I think what he said in there, Robert Kiyosaki, he said, you got to choose to be rich. It's a choice. Mm-hmm. I compare that with anything we do. Like, we were watching Chosen about 6 months ago, and it's 2 separate things. It's faith, and I like on there the guy that plays Jesus. He's like, he asked the guy that was sitting by the pool for 38 years. He's like, do you want to be healed?
Mm-hmm.
Like it was his choice, right? I mean, obviously we got conditions, but in this example, like it's a choice for what we do. Do you know, oh, I'm not, I can't find the house of my dreams. Well, you don't find the house of your dreams on the first time you buy, right? I don't think we said, and RJ and I can speak to this, we didn't, first person we dated married the woman of our dreams, right? That didn't happen. You had to go meet a couple people and then you find the woman. Now, I'm one of the most, great woman, love my wife. He's with an awesome woman. We always say they're like twins, different, so they act the same. And it's recorded, isn't it? Let me stop.
Yeah, Cheryl's gonna listen to this later.
Yeah, all right. Cheryl, I love you. Reggie Miller. Reggie still sucks. That's the inside joke. Anyway, I digress. I get my ADD kicks in sometimes, right? Wendy experienced that a lot. Like Brian's crazy. But the point is we want to help you, and I think building wealth is a choice, right? It's in any industry, anything you do, it's a choice on how you, and it's what we choose to respond. I was thinking about what you said earlier, Wendy, and something my coach taught me a long time ago is E plus R equals O, and I quote this a lot: events plus response equals outcome. E plus R equals O, right? What's the one thing we can control out of that whole thing?
Your response.
Response, right? Because our response tells me, hey, yeah, I can choose. Like I can't control rates. Do the rates going down help me a little bit? Yes. Do the market moving help me? Yes. But if I grind, what Wendy quote said, make your money work for you as hard as you work for it, right? I mean, look, if I'm grinding during rough times, when it's fluid and the market is killing it, then that's where you get fat.
Absolutely.
Right? So the same thing, if you're buying real estate, like Wendy just said, we got all these programs, these DSR program, self-employed, we got HELOCs that can get you access to your money, all this stuff. We can talk about that next show, right? But the point being is that if you start now and you get in the game, when the opportunity comes, it's creating your own luck because you've already taken a step. If you buy 0 properties, like it's good that lady acknowledged it, Wendy. She wished she would have bought them, but she bought. And guess what? 10 years from now, she's going to be like, I'm glad I bought with Wendy. Because the values go up, she gets to write off the interest, she gets to write off the property taxes, all those things. So I can talk all day about this, but I love what you're sharing. I feel like we don't have enough time to really dive in. We're just getting juice. You got to come back on another show for us. I'll get juice. RJ, eventually we're gonna have to make this an hour once we get around. I think the 30 minutes is too short.
Yeah.
Because we used to do an hour show back in the day when Wendy used to do a show with me all the time. Like that.
Yeah.
Well, today's people, the attention span is less, right? 30 minutes is a more digestible nugget, right? But if there's a way, like at least you're recording and it can be parsed out into mini segments, and that way you can get multiple mini videos out of it, and then you have more organic reach, at least that way. Because it's hard to get that 30 minutes or half or an hour, right? But
everybody's on TikTok now, right? TikTok, 15 seconds, you got message, yay, bye now, right? So
well, if it's the thing is this: if we can't make it manageable, we have to be able to make it manageable. So I think the 30 minutes is good, right? In order to do it in part 2, right? And then that's where you got kind of like, ooh, let's lean in, right? And now let's get part 2 on. So hey, let's see you. I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, yeah, if you want to come on next week, I mean, you can. It was we don't have an open. We don't have anyone coming on next week, so you can do that. You can finish up on some things. I will tell you this. I think, RJ, what did we say? The 3rd. Oh yeah, our first one is going to be on the 16th. We're doing our first virtual buyer seminar. So that's going to be on May 16th, which we're
May or April.
May. Yeah, May.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife's got her ice cream opening special on the 3rd Saturday of this month. But yeah.
She's doing a spot now.
Yeah, she's doing like a little tasting at my office.
Oh, nice.
Kind of putting it together.
If you can be there, it'll be worth the drive.
Yeah, she's doing a little tasting, but now she's killing it. I'm proud of her. But yeah,
I had the chocolate pound cake, so it was.
Those are the thing. Like people go crazy. Like I know our pastors, they love the cookies, right? They are amazing to shoot the cookie lane, but the ice cream was the first part of it. But yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm proud of her, and I mean that sincerely. Like just her doing that, and you would have told me 5 years ago. I was like, Erica, fake? What? No. Yeah, she's killing it. So, no, but look, guys, you know us all. If you need to buy, sell, whatever it might be, refi, we do those too. You know, you need some insurance. Let us know. We're happy to help. The thing about it, you're gonna get truthful answers. We can get on a Zoom call with you like this and go through and dive in personally for you and put a plan together. And then, you know, Wendy Lee, and she'll take you out. I always say, I never call her Wendy. I always call her Wendy Lee. She'll take you out and find her house, you know, and the properties. And RJ is going to make sure you get insured the right way. I love that they all educate, because that is a big thing. You educate. You know, you say, oh, you're not selling us enough. We're not dancing and rapping and all that stuff. I'm giving you the truth. My line is, it's not sexy, but we won't lie to you. You know, and that's got to go a long way, I believe. You know, it gives to the people that actually appreciate not being sold on something else. So, Wendy, I appreciate you for being on the show. I hope you can. We didn't talk about it. You want to jump in next week with us? We have an opening. That way I don't have to go bug somebody about doing it. And then, and then you can finish up, because I know you got a lot more material. We didn't, that went by so fast. So we'll dive in maybe on some scenarios on how you actually build wealth and build equity, and how we can take, and I'll show how the money gets thrown away with, you know, on rents, and then how you can take equity out and buy other properties and do it in a business name. So there's a lot that when Wendy was talking about make other properties where we can dive in. We just want to tease you a little bit to bring you in. We're not going to ask you to donate any money to us. RJ might, but you know, hold on, I'm over in a minute, right? Get in a good Bible-based church. Keep all this stuff. All right. Anyway, so make sure you tithe. Anyway, so look, we want to help you. I promise you, we will do that, and we have fun, as you can see. But at the same time, this buying a home is one of the biggest decisions you make in your life, and I promise you, we're going to make it right for you. So. Absolutely. Any last words, Wendy, you want to say? And RJ, I'll let you jump in at the end there.
You need to make sure that, like just Brian says, right, this is the biggest purchase you can possibly make until you buy your next bigger investment, right? But get a team that's going to actually help you see you through it from the start to finish. And at the end of the day, it's not about that commission check. It's about being able to help you build into it and how to grow from it, right? Because my email is actually your real estate consultant for life, right? And that's from the Buffini coaching company that I worked with 20 plus years ago. And that's the key. I am not only your realtor, but I'm your real estate consultant for life, and I will be able to stay by your way. I have clients that have known me for 10, 15, 20 years, and I still stay in contact with them because, again, how can I help you with your real estate goals at the end of the day? So get yourself connected with the team that will help you through, and this is the trio that you're working with.
Yep. And then what I'm doing right now is I'm putting all of our emails in there so you guys can see that. Just DM us. We'll be back next week. I'll let you know when Wendy's going to grace us with her presence. We can jump in a little bit more, and we'll love on you. But no, any questions you have, bring those. We'll love to answer those for you. We'll probably stay a little longer next time, because again, I forget how good, you know, this is and how we can dive in. And we haven't even gotten to the nuggets. Like, we're just introducing you to a little bit of what we're doing. I'll help you out. I got RJ's email in there. I got Wendy Lee's email. RJ, close us out.
Hey, for everybody who joined us today, thank you for joining. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you for that as well. Like Brian said at the beginning, please don't keep us a secret. We are here for your benefit. We want to educate you on the process and the product, so you know what you're getting into and why. Hey, until next time, you'll see the three of us next week. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you then.
All right. God bless.
Thank you.